Too long since the last video. However, I decided, let's be fair, seeing as the last one wasn't all that great, so I thought, why not make another tutorial? I thought I'd start off just by answering a few questions. So, starting with the very first tutorial, the giant follower. JP says that, so he's informed us on a question that I actually asked in the tutorial, and that was that I wasn't too sure whether if you go to talk to the other animals and such, what would happen, but you can see that JP has said that he's tested it. It does have the talk to option, but you can't talk to him because they have the troll voice, so that's great to know. Galen Bizel, I believe, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, says, I did this with Saber Cat and the prompt comes up to talk to him, but I can't actually talk to him to have him follow me. Now, Galen, the mistake you may have made is, if I go into here and just show, so you were trying that with the Saber. So what you might not have done is when you went in to edit it, you do need to change the keywords, so just double check through the tutorial and see whether you change your keywords to actor type follower, I think it is. So just check that out. So that's that video covered. This one, here we go, we have a little bit here. We can see JP's asked, and of course you can. Thank you for that. I added packages for my NPC just by copying and pasting Alvor's packages. All my NPCs will do is work the blacksmith, then once it's time to transition, he'll stand there and do nothing. I have no idea why he won't enter my home. It's annoying. Alright, Princess Felixia has pretty much answered it a little bit, but now, I'll sort of go in a little bit more in depth because that's not exactly right, but it's fairly close. Now, the one thing I'm going to recommend is never copy an actual character's packages. I just feel a lot safer when not copying packages because you know that it's a default package. So when you can, try and use that. But the other thing that you might not have done, which I do cover in the tutorial, I believe, and that's that you need to lay it out properly. If you've got something that's going to run all the time, you need to put that at the bottom, and that'll be the default one. You don't want to put that at the top because that'll override all the things. So for example, if you wanted them to sandbox, you need to have that at the bottom and have your eating or sleeping above that. Because they're only an hour, you need to have that one actually the first call, and if that doesn't work, then it's going to call for the next one down. So if it's something that, just trying to change around the order. Otherwise, the other thing you could do is essentially double click. You haven't really made it clear which one it is, so you just I assume it's all of these packages. So what you could do, seeing as we've got 4 here, is I'd assume it's the work one that the problem is. Double click on it and play around with these and maybe create a new one altogether. You can also see location. You might want to change that around. There's a few things you can do, so just have a little bit of a play, but when possible, maybe try and go for, let's filter and find whether there's a default work in packages, and it's not coming up for some. Alright, so I guess there's no default work, but I would assume that there would be some sort of working, like other working packages. So maybe try something else. I can't really promise anything because I'm not that great when using like NPC packages. I'm more understanding of all the default packages. So when you can, try and use a default package, because most of the time they're going to work. But yeah, just try and play around the order and see how you go. And the last tutorial, this is where JP actually points out about the wrong world. So I'll explain that in the creation kit. Alright, so today I'm actually going to create a merchant, so that should be a little bit of fun. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm actually going to find where I'm going to put him. Now I know where I'm going to put mine, but for the purpose of this tutorial, let's have a find. Now what JP was actually saying is if you put anything in a Plains district, so let's open that up, yes to all, yes to all, and the one thing you will notice with the Plains districts, now I didn't actually know this, so thank you for JP for pointing this out, and then I sort of explored and found out why. Okay, so as you can see, we're in the Winds district, and what that actually is inside of Whiterun. Now that's not great, because if we have a look, just might turn down my rotation speed, sorry, just like that, and like that. Alright. So we're actually in the Whiterun district. Now if you place anything outside of here, the way it actually works is once you go through the main gate, that's not going to appear. So we can see here we have a lookout view. Now if you hop up here and look at, what you'll notice is you can't actually, unless doing some sort of console command, you can't actually get out there from inside of Whiterun. And the reason that is because none of this is actually, well, it's essentially there, but it's set out a lot different. Now the reason I have discovered that is because to save, to keep the game running a lot faster, so it's not loading as much, if you're looking out here, it doesn't have as many objects to load as it would if it was loading everything outside of the game. Now if we double click the gate, you can actually see that the reference and the cell isn't even in the Whiterun Plains district. So we're going to head to Tamriel, which is everything outside of a city. Let that load up. Now I have in mind where I'm going to put mine, and that's exterior 13. Now zoom out and just find the exact area. Now that's looking pretty good. Turn markers off, and I'm going to just put it over here. Now I'm going to filter market stand and go down to all. Remember to filter first before actually clicking all to keep the game loading fast. Now I know stand 2 is the smaller one, so I'm going to put that in. That'll automatically drop to the ground, and by rotating this down we can see that it's pretty good, although pressing W to bring up the widget I might just rotate it down a little bit. Holding Z and dragging down is going to move that just in the ground a little bit. Now just for a little bit of variety, I've decided that I'm going to make my merchant and his area about 0.8 scale, just making him a little bit smaller. So I'm going to rotate that a little bit. Now what we need to do before we actually create our merchant is create a container. Now the way it works for a merchant is nothing gets put into his inventory. We don't actually do that in the actor's inventory. We link it to a container. So essentially it's a chest or a barrel, and then the inventory of the merchant will be linked to that. So to do so, we're going to find container, which I believe is in items, world objects. Now before I click container, actually I better click that first. Now we're going to change the filter to something like merchant. Now because we're making a merchant, if we actually get a merchant's chest and duplicate it, we're going to have it's going to work a lot easier. Now I'm going to make mine a miscellaneous, however you say that, merchant. So he's basically going to do anything. So I'm going to get caravan a chest. Now I'm going to duplicate that and double click. And when this comes up, I'm going to change my ID to new merchant container. Hopefully I've spelt that right. And the name will be, we'll leave it as chest. Alright, so now what we need to do is just play around with this. We can delete everything from there. So that's good to delete. Now we're going to add some objects. So bear with me while I add a few different things. I'm not going to add too much for the moment. Let's just go. I've always wanted to have a Joker costume, which I know there is one. So it's just a matter of finding it. So typing in Joker, Jester, I apologise, and go to all. You're going to see we've got these. So new DB, and if we actually type in the whole thing and scroll to Jester, so we're going to add Jester, and we might also add DB clothes, and we'll add everything else. So we'll just add a hat. I do think that if we check out Jester, it's actually the whole outfit, I hope. But then of course it might not be. We may be wrong. Hopefully we're not. So the other thing we might be able to do is drag a few things in. So if we just select all of them, drag them in, and that'll work. So you can go through and do some filters and drag a whole collection of things. So let's say you wanted bowl, so type in bowl, and you can put all the dwarven bowls, etc., into the container, and they'll get added. Now I'm not going to go into too much detail. You guys get the point of this. You just drag a few things in and such. So that's pretty easy. Surely you guys can work out everything else. Alright, now we need to actually give him some gold. So to do that, we're going to go new, and we want to find vendor gold, and we want to put select any of these. It doesn't really matter too much. I'm going to add the blacksmith gold, and if we go preview calculated results, it's going to tell us how much gold he has, and you can see it's 1,000 there. Now if you want to give him some more gold, you can always right click, head to gold 001, and just change the count to 1,000, and there we go. You can see he's got 2,000 gold. Now that's the easier way. Sorry about that, guys. Alright, so you can probably delete that. It won't make too much difference, I don't think. Now, doing some research, the maximum gold value for a merchant is 56797. So you can't have any more than 56,000, otherwise you're going to get glitches and all sorts of things. So you don't want to max that out too much. Now, I think the reason the actual vendor gold is there is because that's actually it's actually set so that as you level up, so you can see he's got 2750 here. If you go to level 50 and preview it, for some reason that's the same. So that may not be set up as great as it should, but let's just hit OK on that for the moment. Now we don't need to create a new form because we've got the copy, so hit no on that, and yes. Alright, so let's head back to containers, type in merchant. Now we'll double click caravan a chest, and we'll just see what he has for his gold. So somewhere here there should be something about the gold. So there we are there. So we can see traded gold. Now if we preview it now, 4041, and 4415. So if we actually alright, sorry again, it's all going on here. Alright, so what I'm actually going to do is I might close this, seeing as this is a caravan, and I'll go to something more like a Solitude Blacksmith, and what I'm going to do is find out where the gold is. So it's still there, so maybe it's just the same thing and I've made a mistake, so I can cancel that, and I just need to remember Perk Master Trader Go. Cancel that, go to my new merchant, so that should be at the bottom. There we are. And I need to add, it was Perk Merchant, I think it was, I've already forgotten. Perk Master Trader Go. Now, we can delete Vendor Gold Miss and Gold 1. Now, if we preview that, we can see 1866. Close that, and let's change that to something like 2. Now, I'm not too sure what I'm doing wrong. What I might do in this instance, sorry about this, guys, but what we might just do is let's just duplicate, say, the Merchant Whiterun Blacksmith Windhelm Blacksmith chest. Double click on that, and now what I'm going to do is I might just, sorry about this, guys. Let's go to a let's duplicate this. Alright, as we can see, it's a miscellaneous, so that'll add all sorts of cool little items. So if we preview, we can see that it's got some spells, some charcoal, some lockpicks, all that good stuff. And all I'm going to do is just copy across all of these. So we can just click and drag, I hope, which isn't going to work. So I'm really sorry, I should have been a lot more organised. All I'm going to do is just open up Jester. Now you guys sort of hopefully get the point of where I was trying to go with this, and that's that you can just add as many items as you want. Just find a rough idea of what you want, and then you can always preview it. Now it's good to keep sort of a default, already used chest and duplicate it, because you know that no matter what, it's all going to work. Now we can see the gold's there. However, I believe if we were to turn up that to 2, re-preview it, you can see that the gold's turned up. If we go to level 40, you can see that we've got 13,000. So, you know, all sorts of things will change. So yeah, you hopefully get the point of that. And yeah, the other thing that I will change is the lockpicks, and to a count of 4, just because you can never have too many lockpicks, so we might even put that up to 5. We don't want to add too many because you'll start to get glitches at high levels, etc. And we're just going to change this to new merchant chest. That'll do. Name it of chest, of course. Hit OK. And we don't need to. Yes. Alright. So, let's head to containers and change that to new. And we can delete our container because that didn't work out, unfortunately. Now, with the chest, we need to put it somewhere in the game. However, what we don't want to do is put it somewhere that the player can find. So if we were to put it just here and the player walks up, he can just go through there and take as much as he wants. So the best way to do it is just go somewhere out in this grey area, drag it out, and you can see that if we drag it there and finds it here, new merchant, so double click that, that'll take us to its location, and you can see that it is out here fairly good. Just hold Z and drag it a fair way down. Now if we go to the merchant chest, you can see it's out in the grey, which is exactly where we need it. Hidden away when no one can find. Because we're going to use code to actually put it into... sorry, not code. We're going to do a few things just to put it to the merchant so that he doesn't actually have to be able to access it either. Now what I'm going to do, which is sort of a little bit of a cheat for myself, is filter of coin, and I'm just going to add a coin purse gold large. However, I'm going to duplicate it, and now if we just re-update to coin, you can see large copies there, and duplicate this one as well. Now double click on here, let that load, change that to extra large, and I'm going to put the count up to 50. So in case you haven't noticed what I'm going to do, seeing as I'm really a low level at Skyrim, I haven't been playing it that long. As soon as I got it, I started to mod, which may have been a bad idea. I'm going to change that to extra large, and the ingredients are coin purse gold extra large. Hit OK. Create a new form, no, because it's a copy, yes. So, in case you haven't noticed, what I've done is made myself an extra large coin purse so that I can just place one here and rotate it a little bit. Essentially, I'm just modding to give myself more coin. So, I'm probably going a little bit overboard, but, you know, it's my game. I can do what I want. Same for you guys. No one will judge you, not me anyway. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is go into our container. Now this is a lot of sort of editing around the merchant's area. I know there's a few tutorials out there that just fairly basic and just show you how to make the merchant. However, I'm going to show you how to make a little area for the man as well. And what we're going to do here is just preview a calculated result, and I'm going to find something that he carries that's not too important. So something like the paper roll and some horsehide, and there's no books, but we might add some. We might add the black robe too. So what I'm going to do, just to sort of give it more of a look of a merchant's area, is just add some of his items. So we need some charcoal, and actually what we might do is just keep open our merchant chest and put it down here, and we're going to change to charcoal all, drag some charcoal, put it on there, and you can see it's really small, so we might just scrap the idea of charcoal, but we will add some we're going to add black robe, and you can see that there. Now the other thing you really sort of need to do, unless you just want the player to be able to take it and get away with it, double click ownership, and we're not going to be able to do that right at the moment because we don't actually have an NPC, but we will change that. Hit OK, and we're going to add some cowhide. And if you add sort of some books, etc. to it, I'm going to scale this down. If you add some books and that sort of thing to this area, you can add the books on the table, which look a lot better. Hit OK on that, and close that. Now, we're all set in the area. Now we need to actually create a faction. So, we need to go to character, and take away package and faction. Now delete the filter. Alright, right click new and call it whatever you like. I'm going to call mine new merchant faction, and you can probably just copy that, doesn't really matter, just add a space. Now we need to go to vendor, check vendor, and he's going to be open from 8 till 20. And location, it's best to do it at near self, That just means that wherever the NPC is around that area is where he's going to be able to work. So you can also change the radius so that he's locked in a little bit tighter, but none of that's really important. So yeah, you can skip that or add it if you want to sort of really lock him in tight, but it's not too important. Alright, so in the vendor buy sell list, I'm going to select vendor items misc. Now, obviously if you're not doing miscellaneous items, you'll change it to spells or innkeeper, etc., whatever you're going to do. But because he's going to sell miscellaneous items and buy them, etc., you can leave it at that. But if you want him to be locked in so that he'll only buy sort of swords and that sort of thing, you go with something like blacksmith. Yeah, you pretty much get the point. So I'm going to put miss, and the last thing we want to do is change the cell to that container that we created, which was called NN. Now you can either find it here, sorry, I'm looking at cell, not reference. Now the easiest way to do it is just find it here, double click, and go select reference in window, double click, boom, it's already set, you don't need to worry about anything else. So that's easy enough to do. I'm going to bring it back to our little hut. Alright, so you can also change it to only buy stolen items, so or you could chuck 2 merchants in, maybe have one that buys stolen items, and yeah, that's all fun and games. So moving on now, we're all set, and we can go okay. And sorry, the last thing that I'm going to add is the not sell by, and what that means is that it'll mean, so you can put it to spells and it would mean that he buy everything but spells. So you know, if you wanted to do that, you can obviously do that. Alright, the faction is now created, and we can go okay, and let's find actor. Let that load, right click, new, and here's where the fun shall begin. New merchant, and I'm going to call him Red Sox, the merchant, and his name's Red Sox. Unique and essential, this doesn't really matter too much, but yeah, you can add it or not. I've showed you guys in past tutorials how to create an NPC, so I'm not going to do that today. You want to select something like a Nord race and change him around a bit for today. I'm just going to keep it real simple. Now the voice, you want it to be something really generic, so male Nord will work, otherwise you won't be able to have the dialogue for the merchant. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to add is just some merchanty clues. So let's find merchant clothes outfit, boom, free click preview, and I might just go to no hat, and that's my merchant. You can obviously change the phase, do all sorts of things. That's all covered in loads of tutorials. I'm starting to really, this tutorial's really starting to head along, so we're almost done, I promise, and I might quickly finish up at the end on how to add a map marker, and so that will be a little bit of fun, and adding fast travelling and all sorts of things is always good fun. Alright, so next thing we're doing is we just need to go to factions and add a new faction, and that is our new merchant faction. That's all we need to add. Hit OK, sorry about that. And the next thing, let me just check here. Now, that should be all good. We just need to find him. I was just recapping what we've done, and for that container, that is set to the faction, so we don't need to worry about that. And because he's in the faction, that will automatically allow him access to the chest. Now, one thing I should note is that if you put anything you put in the chest must fit. Well, it doesn't have to, but if you put something in that doesn't fall under the category of a miscellaneous item for a merchant, then he's not going to have it in his inventory. So just keep that in mind. Now, the other thing we're going to do is just double click on these, give the ownership to the new merchant. So new merchant, hit OK, double click on that, and ownership, new merchant, hit OK, and I buggered that up, so just one down, hit OK. Now if you wanted to add a bit of a challenge and add some coin, you could always make him own the coin so that you have to steal it, but for the purpose of this tutorial I'm not going to. It's sort of a waste of time, so I'm not going to show you how to do that today. Alright, here we go. Moving on how to add a map marker. Alright, so this is fairly easy. So all we have to do, let me just work this out. So if we go into our filter of map marker, go to all, find the map marker, and you just need to drag that out to the area, and if done correctly, and we turn on the markers, of course, that may not be right, and it must be. Oh yep, there's the radius there. Sorry, I didn't realise just how small our merchant hut was. So we double click on that, go to marker data, the name is going to be Red Sox is shack. The type, I'm going to set it to a shack. You can set it to whatever you want. Now the type is what shows up when you're in your map sort of settings. So when you see a cave up ahead, it's got the little cave image, you get what I mean. And I'm going to check can travel to, so that's all good. That's all we need to do. And we just hit OK on that. And what you need to be careful of, especially when doing something that you can travel to. So the one thing I have forgotten to do is, where is it here? Change the radius. So in extra, I'm just going to change that down to 50, which is really small. We need to put that up just a little bit. And the radius is when it comes up, you've found Red Sox shack, etc. Now you want to move the marker away from the shack, because what's actually going to happen if you do that is where exactly he's going to spawn. So if you have it there, he's going to spawn in the middle of the shack, and you're going to get some glitches. And the other thing we can do is we can add an X marker. So X marker heading, let me drag that out, and we can have him so that he faces that. Put the marker in the middle, double click the marker, and how do I do this? We need to just put a link ref and new, and boom, all done. So essentially, if we fast travel here, he's going to appear at the X marker. So you can even have that all the way over here, and that's where he's going to spawn. So, you know, that's pretty cool. Turn off markers now. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Have a little bit of fun with the area. Thanks for watching. Let's head on over into Skyrim and see how it came out. Alright, so there was two things that I made the mistake on. So once the creation kit loads, I've just had to reopen this. Now there were two things, and I just need to double check on my merchant in my faction on the things that they can sell. And the other thing that I forgot to add was another faction that needs to be added to the actor. So we'll start with the newly created faction. So find new merchant faction or whatever you've called it. Just tick that. And now what has been recommended is that you go not sell buy if you want them to basically be able to do anything. Now what we can actually do is if we open up our actor and we go into the faction and double click, and actually sorry, I've made a small mistake, but while we are here, the other thing that needs to be added to this is a job merchant faction. So click that, click OK, hit OK on that as well, and I just left that out, so just fix that up, and I'm going to unclick them as apparently it's not needed. And the other thing, which is in containers, so new merchant chest. Now what they say is if we just head back to our faction, and you can see here that we have our vendor item miscs. So what that means, if we double click on one of these, you can see that we've got keywords. So essentially what we're actually showing is that so we can see here that we're only going to sell vendor item miscs, which isn't good if we want to be able to sell the jester outfit. But also if we double click any of these and double click on them again and again, now we have to dig deep a little bit, but you can see that it's not actually selected. So at the moment, basically anything we have in here he's not able to sell. So what we're going to do is go not sell by. So as I explained a little bit earlier, not sell by means that he won't sell or buy vendor item miscs, but he'll sell everything else. So that's just a quick tip there too that I missed out on. So that's pretty good, hopefully. Let's head into Skyrim now and see how we went. Just save that, and I'll see you in the game. Alright, so here I am up on the big mountain, and if I head to the map, we can actually see that, oh, what's this little icon? Oh, Red Sox Shack. Click on that, fast travel, sure. Now let this load up, and hopefully we're just near Red Sox's shack. Now I'm trying to work on a tutorial that will, I'm trying to work out a few things, and hopefully I can bring out a tutorial on how to make your own models for the game. That should be a little bit of fun if I can get it to work, so look out for that in maybe a month's time or so. And come on. And here we go. So, Lydia's here.
Yes?
And I can hear a male voice, and for some reason he's standing down here and not behind the thing. Of course that could be fixed by adding the AI package of not moving, and we're not able to talk to him, so that's not a good sign. However, coinage is here. I probably should have turned that up a little bit more, but yeah. So I just headed into the creation kit thinking, oh no, I've stuffed something up, and was pulling my hair out, changing as many things as I could, trying to get it to fix, and then I realised what time it was. Now, we did set it that he was only open from 8 AM till 8 PM. So if we change the time to 8 AM, we hopefully will be able to talk to him. Alright, so that is still not working for some unknown reason. I literally just tested it and it works. So, there we go. So what have you got for sale? And we can go into him and you can see all the stuff he has, and it's all there. So that's really good to know. We can see their gesture closer here, so I'm going to buy them, buy some boots, buy that, and I've just used up my money. So let's head to our
until next time.
Our little coin purse. Hopefully Lydia will get out of the way. Take coin purse, and you can see that it hasn't actually worked as well as it should have, and we're only getting about 70 coins each. So
yes,
you can just obviously turn up the
take a look.
Turning up the amount will work for that. Hopefully we can get the jester hat and we'll be all good. Probably not though. There we go. Oh. And it's a lot more expensive. It's about 5,000. So you guys get the point. It's pretty cool little area. You can see that if I go to the map, we've got the Red Sox Shack. If we head into Whiterun and walk out, we should be able to walk over to the shack as well. So I hope anyway. Alright, so we just turn around and open Skyrim. And there we go, we can see that the map marker's up the top. We head up here and look out, and by heading towards, whoop, that's gonna hurt. Heading towards the map marker, we can see that there he is down there. So hopefully this tutorial has helped, and share with me what you've come up with. Thanks for watching, see you next time.